What's up, guys, and welcome back to another I'd Popcorn for That review. I'm Chris.
And I'm Nick.
And guys, if you're just joining us for the first time, make sure to hit subscribe below. We got videos coming out like this every week. And this week, it's going to be Perfect Blue. So this was directed by Satoshi Kon, and it came out in 1998. Questionable,
Right.
different years. uh, but they're celebrating its 25th anniversary at the theaters near me, and neither of us has seen this before. So, and I know this is like a super well-renowned animated film, and I don't know how you feel about it yet, but I can absolutely see why. Um, how do you feel about it?
I think it's probably one of the better psychological thrillers that there is, like animated or not.
Yeah,
It
I'm
definitely,
glad to hear you say that. Yeah,
yeah, it definitely makes you think, and even when the movie ends, you're like, what happened? What happened? What did I just watch? Kind of like it
yeah,
tells you what you watched, but there's so many like layers to it to kind of like dig into, and
hmm
is this what happened or is this what really happened? You're not really given a clear answer. It doesn't seem like.
no, this movie definitely trusts you to do a little bit of work,
Hmm.
but it doesn't feel like homework. I mean, it's just a really good, deep movie, and I think as Americans, we're kind of like conditioned to not expect animation to go. It's changing nowadays, but like when this came out in 1998, I mean, I don't. Would the American audience know what to do with this level of like depth and drama in an animated movie? Uh, and the animation is just like jaw-droppingly
Yeah, like
perfect.
90s Japanese animation is some of the best out there.
I think a lot of this is rotoscoped.
Is it?
It looked like it to me, right? I mean, do you?
Yeah, there
I
were,
don't
I
know. I
guess,
can
some
kind of
of it,
see
yeah.
it when I see it, but
Well, it was
uh,
supposed to be a live action movie that
that's
became
the
an
one.
animated movie.
That's the one bit of trivia I read. Yeah, it was supposed to be, and I'm glad it became animated.
Yeah.
I really am. I mean, it could have been a breathtakingly, amazing live action movie for sure. But man, for me, this is up there with like the animation greats, or just like you said. I mean, it's up there with some of the best thrillers. Period.
Hmm.
Forget that it's animated. Um, but there's some things that I mean, I think I've mostly pieced it together. But there's some things that confused me in good ways. But I think we got to get into spoilers a little bit on this because I want to
Yeah.
just kind of talk about some of this stuff and just hash it out. I don't want to read about it or watch some video that explains it all. Because this gets it gets a little tangly. And,
Yeah.
and this director is known to. I've seen Paprika at least, and so he is kind of known to play with that line between reality and almost hallucinatory things, and people just like losing their grip on reality. So
Hmm.
um, but yeah, so it's kind of spoilers from here on out. So you should watch this movie. This is like required watching. I
Right.
don't know how it took me this long to watch it, but yeah. So for me, like the whole split personality aspect. So I guess I got to start with kind of a big spoiler, but the the person who becomes her alter ego, um, we find out is her. What is it? Her agent or her manager?
Yeah, I think it's like one of her managers.
So it's just she's become so, and maybe she had an unstable mind anyway or whatever, but she's become so upset about her perfect image of uh I forgot the name, Mima,
Yeah.
uh of Mima as a pop star as opposed to an actor, and she's trying to transition to this role of actress and leave her role of pop star behind. And that image of her as a pop star is so embedded in this woman Ryu, this woman's mind, that she takes on that persona and becomes uh, Mima the pop star. But was that her? Every time we see the pop star version of Mima, who doesn't look anything like
Yeah.
the woman Ryu, and also not only that, but also like in the mirrors, and like there's a lot of things that are don't really match up with reality. So like, what did you interpret that as when those scenes are going on where we're looking in a mirror and we're seeing her, or she's like coming out of a computer screen, all this stuff? Is that just Mima like losing her grip on reality,
I think it
corresponding with this.
I think it was, and then I think they did have like a shared psychosis a little bit, obviously, because she was seeing Ryu at certain points as herself in like the pop idol version, but she definitely was losing her grip because there's no way that Ryu would have been there for all of those interactions that she kept seeing herself because like she's riding by on a train, sees it in the train window, and I think she was just
Yeah,
losing her
and
mind, kind of.
the scene where she's seeing, but the scene where she's seeing her in a taxi could be real.
Yeah,
But it's just like for some reason we see her, even though they don't look at all alike, we see her as this like, and also kind of glowing. So I guess that's like part
mhm,
of the psychosis of it all. Uh, is like not only is she transformed into this, like image that looks just like Mima, but also she's like glowing. Um, but the other thing is like it's a little ambiguous. I don't know if this is ambiguous or not, but so when she's a pop star and going forward, but especially when she's a pop star, she has this admirer that's this really unusual look. A lot of people have unusually drawn eyes in this movie. I got to point
yeah,
out.
and they're usually like the creepy people in the movie. It seemed like, or they're the ne'er do wells or what.
Kinda, yeah. Didn't her mother have kind of? I don't
Did it
know,
ever
but anyway,
show her
most.
mom? I think they just talked on the phone.
Oh yeah, you might be right about that. But so there's this character that's very unusual looking. He looks like he's about 7 feet tall, and has this long hair that kind of hangs over his face, and he's got this kind of dead eye that very far apart eyes, and kind of got this dead eye and jacked up teeth and everything. And he's very much obsessed with Mima as a pop star. Posters all over his walls and everything. And he seems to also be having a psychotic break that
Mhm.
corresponds with all this. And so I was getting, and I think there's a degree of tangled in the web that you're supposed to feel in this movie. So I mean, I don't fault the movie for it, but I was getting a little bit like who's because people are dying, and I'm not even sure who's doing the killing,
Right.
and people are having these psychotic breaks, but I don't know who. I started to question who's having a psychotic break, or if they're just all having one at the same time that correspond with each other. Because at one point, all of his posters in his room were talking to him as this glowing, the same glowing Mima pop star. And she also performs in front of a bunch of people, and nobody reacts like the two other girls in the J-pop group that she used to be in do look like surprised, and or maybe a little. I don't know what the look on their face was supposed to be when she comes out on stage, but it didn't seem like the audience was reacting like there's some strange lady on the stage. You know what I mean?
Well, was it a strange lady? It was her, wasn't it? Because it was like her last performance with the group before she went in to try to be an actress.
No, I mean afterwards when like there is definitely two of them that are like communicating with each other and everything, and she's like, I'm gonna do like she's like this is what people want. I'm gonna go out there, and she does another performance and walks out there, and it's like her first performance back, but it's
Mhm.
not really her.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, there. Yeah, because she was in like a different outfit from the other two
So
girls.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if there's moments. I don't know what your take on it was, but I don't know if there's moments where it's just like you're supposed to be a little confused. It's supposed to be a little tangled up because
Yeah.
like things that happen. Like she's playing a person having a psychotic break, ultimately in the show that she's in as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like reality slipping, and she keeps like she keeps waking up in a room in the same exact position and
So
not knowing exactly what happened the day before, and starts to even question if she's killing these people or
right.
not.
And now that I think about it more, is like it leads you to believe that the guy is the one killing people because
Yeah,
he's obsessed with her, but I don't think that's the case now that I think about it. I think he was just gonna kill her, and the person that was killing all these other people was actually Ryu.
right. And yeah, I think that's what you're supposed to take from it. But there is that scene where like he's trying to assault the real Mima, and he thinks that she's an imposter of who he thinks the real Mima is, the pop star Mima, and uh, and he's trying to assault her, kill her, and she says like you're the one that really killed all those people and made it look like I did it or whatever, and he's like, yeah, now I'm gonna kill you. So that was the only thing where I was like,
Okay.
I guess he's just lying in that moment, because it really seems like by the end it is all Ryu.
Yeah,
But it
because
is designed to, because she says a bunch of times like I'm starting to lose track of what's a dream, like am I even real, what's real and what's not. She does remember, and I think this is her that does this, and I don't think we're supposed to think otherwise, but
yeah,
um, the person who took all the nude photographs of her,
yeah, she
uh,
actually killed him.
she she does actually kill him, and she goes hard on
Yeah,
him,
like a little
man.
ice pick, man.
Yeah, that scene was crazy with the, yeah, that whole scene was crazy, and I think like that was the, I don't know if that was the first moment, but that was the moment where I was like, oh boy, I think I'm watching like, I don't know why that's it. That's maybe that's the wrong scene to notice something like that, but I was like, oh boy, I think I'm watching like a masterpiece here.
Yeah.
Um, just that like iconic imagery of her beating this guy in front of like a projection of herself as a pop star. It's just
Mhm.
some really good imagery all throughout this thing, and like even just like the scenery, the shots of the city and scenery paintings and things like that that you can tell are all painted by hand and everything.
Yeah.
There's a lot to really look at here. Trying to think of what else here. There was a lot that kind of, I think by the end of it I mostly get. Like I think she is really, they do both survive. I don't think we're like not in reality anymore or
Yeah, and
anything
it,
like that.
like one of the interesting things too is how the TV show that she's on is kind of paralleling what's actually happening to her.
Right, like there's like a dissociative identity disorder thing, and she like thinks it's like a sister that thinks she's a model or something like this, but it's very similar to what's really going on.
Mhm.
Yeah. Uh, what was the other thing I was gonna say? The very end was a little bit confusing to me, only because I'm just reading into it more than I should, but it felt like a little different than the tone of everything else. Where like at the very end, like she just overhears some people. She goes to visit Ryu in the hospital, and they tell her that she mostly still thinks that she's the pop star, but once in a while she'll be Ryu. But for the most part, she thinks she's and it shows her in the mirror, the reflection of her in the mirror, and she still looks like Mima the pop star. And she's leaving the hospital, and she overhears these nurses say like, "That almost looks like Mima Kyoga, whatever her name, whatever last name is." And she's like, "No, probably just somebody that looks just like her, because she wouldn't be. Why would she be at this hospital?" And when she goes to her car, she's like, "Nope, it's me. or whatever she says.
And
Like,
she's like, I'm
I'm
real.
no, I'm actually real." And then she just like looks in the rearview mirror. It's like she's talking to you directly, and that's the end of the movie. And maybe it just felt like in a movie like this, it maybe felt like there was something more to read into that, and maybe there just isn't. I don't know if you did.
Yeah, maybe I feel like she was maybe going there to check and make sure that she was not the one locked up or something. Like she is the real one and Ryu is the one that's there. Just 'cause
Maybe
like
I took
that
it as
gave
just
her some
her.
sanity back, maybe.
I took it as her just visiting her, somebody that she sympathized. They used to be friends, and she
Yeah.
sympathized with her because it's just a mental illness or whatever. And
But it seemed like she was
but yeah,
over her mental illness if she is like a famous actress now and stuff.
yeah, I guess
She's
so. It really felt like it felt like kind of a cautionary tale at one point of like, don't lose your soul in. I mean, I know this isn't Hollywood, but like her becoming an actress, it's like she's losing her soul and losing her, maybe her morality a little bit, or she's lost that clean cut image for sure, and you can't tell how much she's on board with that. And there's a very pinnacle scene um, where like an R word situation happens in the show that she's in, but you can tell she in real life does like feels very conflicted about it. Like there's part of her that's just like, well, this is what I signed up for as an actress, and part of her's obviously doesn't want to do that, and so she's kind of torn in two in this scenario. So
and I
yeah,
think
I mean,
that's kind of a part of her mental break happened from shooting that scene too.
yeah, it's like she just doesn't know who she is anymore. And after the scene where she just gets completely nude in front of this photographer, she's like in the tub, like, and you can tell she's just like contemplating her whole life, and she screams. And obviously that did change her and affect her. So maybe it's just a case scenario of she had to come to terms with what she can and can't,
Yeah,
or will and won't allow herself to do. She's still an actress, but she's won't
right.
go that far anymore.
I
Um,
did see that tub scene did inspire the scene in Requiem for a Dream.
mm, okay, I actually don't specifically remember the one scene you're talking about. I think I've only seen if I've seen Requiem for a Dream twice. I'm surprised because
Right.
that's a movie that I don't usually recommend people watch more than once. Good though it is,
Yeah,
uh, kind of a one and done
it's a
kind of
rough
thing.
watch.
And this is kind of a dark movie too. I mean, it ends on I guess a positive note. I'm skeptical about the positive note, but I guess there's nothing more to read into it. But for a lot of this is very it makes you question not your own sanity, but like the sanity of the movie and the reliability of the narrator of this movie and what we're being told and not told. And like I said, you can't figure out who's done. There's points where you and the main character are questioning whether she's the one doing some of this killing or not because she keeps waking up in the same bed the same way.
Yeah.
But that I will say one more thing. In so I was starting to question, and it's almost like the movie heard me because I was starting to go, okay, I get a lot of things here, but like this pop star version of Mima is just flitting around like a fairy, like prancing through the city, like almost levitating her way, just light as a feather, floating through the city. And the lady's like overweight in real life.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell does she look like in real life? And then it was almost like I asked that question in my mind, and then the movie shows her running alongside of a building with like reflective glass wall, and she's just like power running, and the way it's animated, I don't know, I died for a second, like that just took me out. But yeah, anything else you want to add about this
Nah,
film? There's a lot I could
I
say,
mean, you
but
should definitely watch it.
yeah, you gotta watch it. Hopefully, you have if you've watched this far into this. But yeah, this is like required watching. There's a lot more you could say, but yeah, I'll leave it at that. If this is even a scoreable movie? What do you give this movie?
Like a 9. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I gotta give it. I'll give it a 9.5 and reserve my 10 for no particularly good reason. But yeah, near perfect movie, I think.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know offhand what the next movie is. It'll be a surprise.
Yeah.
But if you've seen Perfect Blue before, for sure, comment below what you thought about it, or any of the other movies directed by this director whose name has escaped me right now. But I know Paprika. I think Tokyo Gangsters was another big one
Tokyo
of theirs.
Godfathers.
Tokyo Godfathers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you like this kind of thing, hit like below. That helps us out a lot. Share this with your friends, and yeah, come back for the next one. We will see you very soon. Thank you very much for watching. See you
Thank you.
next time.
We'll see you.